Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Today we are going to analyze the PWM of the Xiaomi 15. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this video, and I know why, because this phone has been released 2 weeks ago in the Western world, let's say like this, and it is a good candidate for a good phone for PWM sensitive people. So first, before we get into it, let's have a. I just want to insert a small message from myself. As maybe you know, this channel or this journey was just created and started just because I was frustrated there's no source for a good decision which phone to take, or let's not talk about laptops and displays and TVs and stuff, but there's just simply no good source on how to make the decision what you should buy, what it works for PWM sensitive people like me and probably you. So this was not an intention. I did not want to create a YouTube channel. I'm not a YouTuber, not an influencer, and I don't want to be. And this project takes me a lot of time and energy, and my life is currently very busy. So sorry for the delay of the release of this review. And on the other hand, it makes really a difference if you guys benefit from these videos, and if it adds value, if you can decide what you're gonna buy or what you're not going to buy. So my current goal is for me to find a phone, but I also want to add value here. And just one thing, just give me a feedback if what I do makes sense to you, if you like it, if it helps you in any way. And of course, there are several ways. You can write me a message here on YouTube or on Reddit. I'm active on Reddit, of course, too. Probably you are from Reddit here. Um, or you, of course, just do the regular YouTube stuff like subscribe, like the videos, comment. As you can see, I have my dashboard here, and I check it once in a while to see if people really use the videos or if it's just a waste of energy, time, and money for me. So please let me know and subscribe to all this stuff. That's all I want to say here. I just want to know, does it make sense to continue here or not? And every feedback you share with me is appreciated. So that being said, let's have a quick note on PWM for people who are not familiar with it. PWM is pulse wave modulation. It is a way to reduce brightness in this modern displays, especially OLED displays. And what it does, it reduces the brightness in short periods. It is like flickering, and with a brightness of 100 and a brightness of 0, you get 50% brightness when you are flickering fast enough. So that's basically the technique here. There are other techniques that we discuss in this video too, like dithering, like LED dithering, or like the free refresh rate, which plays a role in the Xiaomi 15 as well, and we will see it. So symptoms that PWM sensitive people like share or have are like eye strain, burning eyes, dry eyes, more or less everything. But for me, there are nuances and differences in depending on the displays. A stiff neck, a headache, a migraine, which is like heavy headache, or blurry vision even. And I had this on a Apple MacBook Pro, where I've had very blurry vision after using it for a while. And also nausea or sickness, which I have experienced too. It misses here on the list, and I will add it later. So while we are here, I will share this form, the link to the form here. And if you have experienced like any of the PWM symptoms for any of the phones listed here, and I hope I have an exhausting list here for the modern phones, please share your experiences with it. You simply click what your experiences is, and then you subscribe, you send it to me, and I will, when we have enough data, share it, and hopefully we can make some sense out of the data. On this side the symptoms, and on the other side what we do today, and in every video like a scientific approach on measuring the different like PWM with a scientific device like an oscilloscope. So please join this journey and add your experiences and let me know, and I will share with you later once we have enough data. So that is the reason why I do this channel, as I have said already. So let's now get into the stuff, right? Okay, so here is the phone. This baby, I got it a few days ago, and I want to first say some for people who have the Xiaomi 14, which I have too, and because when I got the 15, I was of course going to display and brightness settings as quick as I could, and I was looking for the DC dimming option. And when you look here, I mean it's German here, but trust me, when you look here, there is no DC dimming option. So what does this mean? Does the phone, even while it is promoted on the website, not use DC dimming, or does it use both, or whatever? And it was my fear at first too. But let me tell you this, the Xiaomi 14 has the option to enable DC dimming and disable PWM in the settings, while the Xiaomi 15 does not have the setting. It uses DC dimming right up front, and you cannot use PWM here. Okay, so that's good news. Xiaomi decided that it wants to go only DC dimming, which we can interpret as a good sign, hopefully. So that being said, let's look at the data when we are measuring it. I want to share what I have recorded with my oscilloscope, and let's go from 100% brightness to 0, or let's say 0 on the brightness settings. So what you see here is the wave of the brightness. You imagine this is like the brightness or the light. The higher it is, the brighter the display is, or the LEDs are lightning or like shining. Okay, so what you see here is a dip, and that means that the brightness is dropping, and then it gets brighter. So bright, darker, brighter. Okay, so that's what's happening with the Xiaomi 15. And now you wonder, what the heck? We just talked about DC dimming, and now you see those dips. They look a lot like PWM. And let's compare this with the Samsung S25, for example, and let's go to 100% brightness here. What you can see is also the dips. The dips are different. You have another hertz, right? Like 480 times per second. The dips occur here, while on the Xiaomi 15 you only have like 120. If that's good or bad has to be decided in the future. We don't have enough data. Some people say it's better to have like higher frequency. For me personally, I had a high frequency MacBook Pro display with like notebook. The check.com said it was like I don't know, 14,000 hertz, but it did not work at all for me. So, but that's not the point here. We see that Samsung uses PWM. Clearly it uses this, and this is why you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dips per, like on the same scale. Since this is the same horizontal scale, you can compare, and only 2 dips here. So what's happening here? What you see here is DC dimming with a refresh rate of 120 hertz. Now you're wondering, maybe if you're not familiar with it, what is the refresh rate? And the refresh rate is actually simply how often your display, when you watch a video or play a video game on your phone, which probably you won't, refreshes the image you see on the screen. Like your eye can only detect 24 images per second, but when it comes to gaming or videos, the more frames you get, the smoother it looks on the display. And there's the small um, explanation, like let me check if you can see it like this, maybe the brightness. Okay, so you can see this ball jumping around here, and it says like regular, and as the frequency is high. I hope you can make a difference here. Well, depending now on my okay, that does not make sense on recording wise and playing size. So anyways, we have a refresh rate of 120 Hertz on this phone, and you can set it to 60, which will add fewer dips on the phone and not so smooth this viewing of videos and games. So that might work for you. On the other hand, some people say a lower frequency of dips in the brightness well will turn to more symptoms or headache and eye problems. But that is on the good news we have DC dimming. On the bad news we have those dips with a refresh rate, and we cannot disable them or change anything a lot here. You can add the 60, and it is also dynamically, you can set it to a fixed refresh rate of 120, but if you use it dynamically, then it will reduce the refresh rate once when you're, for example, showing a static photo or reading, like then you don't have to refresh so much, and then those dips will occur even more rarely. If that's a good thing or not, you have to decide for yourself. I cannot tell this for you because we don't have the scientific background to say this is good or this is bad for people. I wish we had it already, but it is not the case currently. So we have PWM disabled, we have DC dimming, and we have this dip on the brightness, which happens a lot less than on the Samsung, as I've shown you, which is a good thing, I would say. So that is good. Let's look into 50% of brightness. You see that the dips are not so deep anymore, which is also good because the closer we get to a flat line, the better it is. Now let's look into 25. You see almost no difference to the 50, which is okay. And once we go to 0, lowest brightness in the phone setting, then you get a almost flat line, which is really good for people, since that means on other phones, like let's also compare this to the Samsung. On the Samsung we have like this. It's an inverse dip because we have only the low brightness, and then we have peaks of brightness, like darkish and then bright, and also with 240 Hertz. Now what we got on the Xiaomi 15 is a almost flat line. You see the Hertz is not right. It's showing something, but it does not really make sense here because, well, that depends on my measuring utility, and I think it's not precise enough to detect a flat line. So imagine this is flat, so this is a good thing. Xiaomi uses DC dimming. Even when you go to 0 brightness, it has really a flat line. When you go to 25 and 50, it has smaller dips, and 100 is quite deep. Well, can say quite deep, but it is okay. In my opinion, I would say it is okay. So that is a good thing for both of these measurements. We can do the refresh rate and PWM. I think it is good so far, and that makes me happy because Xiaomi decided to use DC dimming, and it really is working. So let's have a quick look on the Pico scope where we are. So I want to show you just how the DC dimming really is working in action, and so you have a more dynamic view of what's happening here. Well, I want to go to 100% of brightness, and you can see here that it is not even listed anymore. We have to make this brighter. So what's happening here is that we have this line, and the closer we go here, well, here we go. Okay, so let's make it a bit smaller maybe. That's not working. So that is on full brightness, and you see that we have a 120 Hertz. And now when I move down with the brightness, as you can see on the display, maybe I'm moving down with the display, and you see the line is dropping. You know, it is dropping. Let's go like this, and when I go even darker and darker, this line, the brightness line in volts, is dropping, and those dips are getting smaller and smaller until when I go down, I have a flat line. And that is DC dimming in action for everyone who was curious what is happening actually and how those pictures are coming together. So far so good, as I've already said, and that is what's happening. As you can see, I've upgraded my gear so you guys can see a more interesting view of oscilloscope and PWM measurement. So now, with that being said, let's discuss the phone itself. I want to just let you guys see a more interesting picture here than while I'm talking. So this phone here, my personal experience and my personal opinion, should you buy this phone or not, before you make your decision. So for me, let's start the journey at the beginning. I got this phone, I was very excited because I was hoping it was like the Xiaomi 14, and once I got it, I was using it extensively in the first evening, like 2 hours in a row, which I usually do not use my phone so much in a row, but I used it and I had a feeling of nausea and sickness, I have to admit that, and my eyes were like exhausted after that, and I was like, oh shit, that does not work at all for me. And I was really disappointed. That was when I got on the same evening, went online and ordered the Xiaomi 14, because I was like, okay, fuck it, then I'm taking the 14. I hope really that works, because people on the internet said it is working really good. And I got the 14, and the 14 worked quite good for me. And I was like on the edge of saying, okay, let's return to 15, let's stick with the 14. And then I went into details. Okay, that was when I said, how do they differentiate? And I was measuring the 14, and I will release a video on this one too, but I was measuring the 14 and I did not find really a difference. I really did not find a difference in PWM. The 14, as I've said, uses PWM, but you can disable it and use DC dimming like the 15 does here. And the 15 and the 14, when DC dimming is enabled, use exactly the same DC dimming. So that is basically the same. They have both a refresh rate of 120 Hertz, and you can set it to 60 on both phones. So I was like, what the heck is going on here? And that was when I was going into the topic of dithering. Yeah, people hate this topic because it is another issue for people who suffer from light differences, let's say it like this, like PWM. And then I was going into dithering, and I want you guys to know that I have taken no effort less than ordering a lens to check out the dithering on those phones. And I will share here now what I have found on the 15. Unfortunately, I could not record it as I wanted to, but this, what you see here now, is the Xiaomi 15's LEDs display on the LEDs on the display, and I hope you guys can see it on the video. So this is like the LEDs, depending on brightness. And as you can see, hopefully on the video, I know it's a bad recording, but I was in a hurry and I did not have the gear. So I hope you can see it. Let's go back here for a second. It's not so good on the video actually, but trust me. Maybe you see it here better. By the way, what you see here, this line moving, is the refresh rate. But I hope you guys can see that those LEDs are, well, sadly, are like changing in their brightness. So at least from my like amateur settings and hardware to measure stuff, I would say that Xiaomi 15 definitely uses dithering, and that is a bad thing for people who are affected by dithering. So the Xiaomi 15, not Ultra, but I guess the Ultra 2, have a color depth of 68 billion colors, which is like 32 bits, which is really a lot, and it's just a marketing number. No eyes can see the difference. It does not make sense any sense to go that high on the colors. But we have a 68 billion colors, 32 bits, as I've said. And what the problem is here? A LED or your pixel should display 32 bits of different colors, but in fact the hardware cannot, because the hardware does not usually have a 32-bit hardware technology. It would be very expensive and you won't buy this phone for 1K. So what it probably has, I did not find anything about it, but what it probably has is 10 or 12 bit, which is not even close to 32. And what is happening then is dithering. And if you don't know about dithering, let me explain it like this. When you have a red tone, a higher red tone, or like a darker red tone and a brighter red tone, but your phone wants to, like, you have this dark red tone and this like this not so bright red tone, but your phone wants to send something in the middle. So, but your hardware can't do this. It can't make those steps as granularly as you want it to. So what it does, it takes one up, one darker, one brighter, one darker red, and one not so dark red, and it goes on and off, and in the middle, like the middle worth of it, is this brightness that you have in the middle that your phone wants to send you. I hope you can understand what I'm talking here. But the thing is, it also happens with LED flickering, and in this particular thing, it uses for example, the green LED will flicker to reach this kind of color. So your eyes will not notice the difference or the on-off on the LED, on the green LED, but it will notice a sum of the light, which is this color that your phone wants to see. So bad news, guys, bad news for all of you. This is what I've found out about the Xiaomi 14 and 15. And when I tested my Xiaomi Mi 910, which I currently use or still use, it does not use dithering. So still here, both phone 14 and 15 use it. I think the 15 uses it even more, although the specs on 15 and 14 are the same. The 14 also has 32 bits of color deepness. So what does this mean? Should you buy it or not? For me personally, I think I'm more affected by PWM, the dips on the brightness, and I'm not so much affected by the dithering, the color dithering. So I have a feeling that both have different symptoms for me. Like dithering probably causes the sickness or nausea, which is not so bad, but it does not create the eyes, burning eyes, and like those eye strain that I experience with, for example, a Samsung S25 or the iPhone 16. I had really bad eye problems with both of them, and I do not have it with the Xiaomi 14, neither with the 15, but I feel a little bit more sick when I use it, which is a feeling in the stomach. I'm not really sick, but it feels like there's something going on in my stomach when I use the phone. But to round this up, for me, um, it is good enough to take this phone. Let's say it like this. So I have decided that I will stick to the Xiaomi 15 because it is more or less the same like the 14, and probably I was a little bit too sensitive while using it in the first place, and I was like, oh shit, it doesn't work. Maybe I was going too hard on it by using it like that intensively, like 2 hours in a row without really looking somewhere else, which I usually do not do, and I don't do it in my day-to-day life. So I'm fine when I can use the phone like 20 minutes in a row, which is usually the most I use it in a row. And I can do that with this phone. And I feel like it is okay to my eyes. And it's not perfect. You've seen the problems. We've discussed it here a lot. It's not perfect, but it is good enough to go with it for now. Let's say I will use it now because okay, my old phone is like at the edge and I need a new phone. So I will go for the Xiaomi 15, and I would recommend it. You have to test it for yourself, but I would recommend it, really would recommend it. And hopefully you are not that much affected by dithering. And one note I missed to add here, you can change the colors in the Xiaomi, the 14 and 15. There's the setting on colors and which colors to set. In the setting here, but the scheme of colors, and you can change it here, and I've tried all of them. The dithering did not, it was not affected by it, unfortunately. I've seen other videos where color schemes affect the issue, but in this case it did not. Maybe there's some workaround or something that reduces the overall color from 32 bits to 10 bits, but I did not find that so far. So I would say if you are not a person, if you are sensitive to PWM and you are not to dithering, or you don't know yet, I would say give it a go. Try it out. It is worth trying it out. If you know dithering is an issue for you, of course this phone probably won't work. If you are really sensitive to all of them, of course it won't work that much. But I would say, as what I've seen so far in those videos is in those tests I've made, is that this phone is one of the better ones to use when you're sensitive to PWM and those kinds of flickerings. So that being said, guys, let me know what you think yourself. If you've experienced and used the 14 and the 15, please let me know in the comments below, in the comments on Reddit. Write me a message, give me your feedback. What is your experience with the Xiaomi 15? I'm very curious. I will share an update on the 15 once I'm using it even more, and I will also record a video on the 14 to go more in depth, and I will also well, hopefully when I find the time, to make a video on the differences on 14 and 15 on PWM wise. So you guys can decide, since the 14 is more cheap and people have shared that they are okay with it. But of course, we don't have so much data, so some people are okay, some are not. I would recommend it. I think it is a good enough go-to and test it. Other than, for example, iPhone 16, I would not recommend not testing it at all. So go with the 15 if you are not sure where to go and you don't know. If you want a new phone, a good phone, go with the Xiaomi 15 and give it a try. Probably have to return it, but I would say it's an estimated guess, or estimated recommendation, let's say it like this. Okay, so that is for now, guys. I hope you and did find any sense or value in this video, and of course um, I'm glad to hear from you. I will add the data when you've watched the other videos. I will add the data in this sheet, but I thought it was not that interesting here since we use Dithering DC dimming here on this phone and not PWM. But I will add this data and I will use it later, and you will see the sheet, of course. So guys, that being said, thanks for watching this video. I know it's been a long ride, 30 minutes into the video, but I want for myself and I want to give you a good foundation what is happening with the font, and to make a good decision, to base your decision on some data. That's the purpose of this channel. So I wish you all the best. Hit the like button, subscribe and comment as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.